All I see is darkness. All I see is darkness. What's going on? Where am I? A silent drift in the velvet sea, where seconds stretch to eternity. No sun, no moon, no stars in sight, just a rhythmic pulse of the ancient night. She carries the weight of 1,000 years, a traveler shedding forgotten fears, woven in shadows wrapped in the deep, awake in a dream while the ages sleep. The tunnel is narrow, the path is long, set to the beat of a heartbeat song. Through the ink of time she begins to glide, with the weight of the world on the rising tide. Then comes the spark, a sudden tear, breaking the veil of the yesteryear. A flash of gold, a silver cry, and the twinkling blink of a newborn's eye. The darkness shadows, the journey is done. She trades the void for the morning sun. From the endless quiet to the sudden bright, she wakes at last in a world of light. Now my eyes are open, and a young child is holding me and hiding behind the car, right by the front tire as fireworks sound off in the sky, and other young children are running around and screaming joyfully. The percussion of the grand finale echoed through the pavement, vibrating against the side of the sedan where we crouched. To the others, it was a symphony of celebration, but for the one holding me, it was a call to duty. Small, steady arms wrapped around me, pulling me into a cocoon of soft cotton and familiar scent. While the older kids darted like fireflies across the lawn, their laughter mingling with the rhythmic pop hiss of sparklers, my guardian remained a quiet anchor. Every time a particularly loud boom shook the air, I felt the tightening of the protective embrace. A hand reached up to gently cup my ear, muffling the roar of the sky, while the rest of the world looked up at the cascading gold and violet. My guardian's eyes stayed on me, checking for a flinch or a tear. A soft rhythmic shushing sound hummed against the top of my head, a private lullaby meant to rival the chaos of the night. Even as our cousins shrieked with delight, chasing the smoky trails of ground blooms, I felt entirely safe in this small makeshift fortress behind the wheel of the car. The heart of the celebration nearby, the adults cheered, their silhouettes illuminated by the flickering glow of the grill and the neon burst above. They were lost in the nostalgia of the holiday, the smell of charred burgers and sulfur heavy in the warm July air. But here, in the shadows, the 4th of July wasn't about the spectacle in the clouds. It was about the fierce, quiet love of a child looking after someone smaller. As the final willow shells dripped gold across the horizon, my guardian leaned in close, kissed the top of my head, and whispered that the bright lights were almost over. The world was loud and bright and dizzying, but as I was lifted up and carried toward the porch, I felt so small, and the world felt so big. Where am I? I thought to myself. I blinked, and now I'm sitting down in my walker outside in the South City housing projects, and I see bigger children walk by on the sidewalk, so I try to follow them in my walker. The sun felt warm on my shoulders as I sat anchored in my walker. The plastic tray in front of me scattered with a few stray Cheerios, but the world was moving, and I wanted in on the action. Down the sidewalk, a pack of elementary kids appeared. The neighborhood boys. To me, they looked like giants in oversized sneakers, their heavy book bags bouncing against their backs like turtle shells as they trekked home from the school bus stop. They were laughing and swapping stories of the playground, completely unaware of their teeniest, most determined fan. I followed them like I was on the great pursuit. It may have been the greatest at the moment in time. With a sudden burst of inspiration, I planted my toes firmly into the concrete and gave a mighty shove. Scritch, scratch, slide. The wheels of the walker groaned against the driveway as I began my slow motion drag race towards the sidewalk. My legs, usually content to just dangle, were suddenly a blur of motion. I was a baby on a mission, focused entirely on the bobbing backpacks ahead. From the porch, a chorus of laughter erupted. "Oh, look at that. Now you decide you want to walk?" my aunt teased, leaning over the railing. "They're too old for you." The adults were having a field day between the clinking of iced tea glasses and the creak of the chairs on the porch. The jokes started flying. "Going somewhere?" my mom called out, grinning as she watched me reach the edge of the grass. "You better slow down. Those boys are about 10 years and a whole lot of homework ahead of you." "She thinks she's ready for the first grade," someone else chimed in. "They're a little too old for you, kiddo. You haven't even mastered the nap yet." I didn't care about the age gap or the fact that I couldn't actually read a textbook. I just wanted to be part of the parade. One of the boys looked back and gave a little wave and said, "Hey, little baby," before disappearing around the corner. I stopped my wheels, breathless and triumphant, looking back at the laughing adults with a look that said, "Just you wait until I get my own backpack." I blinked, and I'm at a park with other children. I'm being yelled at by my aunt for eating a piece of honey bun another little girl had given me. I was at the neighborhood park in South City, and kids were running around everywhere. The park was a swirl of primary colors, the high-pitched shrieks, the kind of afternoon where the grass stains were a badge of honor. I was barely preschool sized, navigating the world with wide eyes and a stomach that was perpetually ready for a snack. When a little girl offered me a piece of her honey bun, the sticky, glazed, and sweet smelling like heaven, I didn't think twice. I was a child of opportunity. I took a big, sugary bite, feeling like I had struck gold. For some strange reason, I felt like I had just pulled off the great honey bun heist. Suddenly, the clouds of my joy were parted by the voice of my aunt, my mom's younger sister, the one with the sharp eyes and the even sharper protective streak. "What are you doing?" she barked, and my heart did a little somersault. I froze, the sticky glaze still on my chin. I was genuinely baffled. In trouble? For a honey bun? This felt like a gross miscarriage of justice. She wasn't just mad. She was making a point. "You don't just take food from people," she lectured me, her hands on her hips. "If you want something, all you have to do is open your mouth and ask. Do you hear me? If you ask me for it, you can have it. You don't ever have to just take something from someone else." Just then entered the beep beep truck. As if the universe was testing her resolve, a familiar rhythmic sound echoed through the park. Beep beep, beep beep. The neighborhood legends, the husband and wife duo, had arrived their snack truck to let us eat their wonderful treats. To us, that truck was a chariot of wonder. Every kid in the 2-block radius stopped dead in their tracks when they heard that beep beep truck. They knew that the beep beep truck and all its wonderful snacks had arrived, and it was loaded with everything that a kid's heart could desire. I looked at that truck, then I looked at my aunt, who was still mid-lecture about the importance of just asking. I didn't even miss a beat. I wiped the honey bun crumbs from my face. I looked her dead in her eyes and opened my mouth. "Can I have something from the beep beep truck, Auntie?" The silence that followed was heavy with the irony of the moment. My aunt blinked, her stern expression twitching as she realized I had called her bluff. Within approximately 3 seconds of her setting the rule, her friend started chuckling. She let out a defeated, loving sigh, the kind only a favorite aunt can manage. "Well," she muttered, reaching in her pockets, "I did say that all you had to do was ask." And true to her word, she marched me right over to that window. I walked a little taller, my tiny shoes crunching on the gravel, knowing I had the full backing of the "ask and you shall receive" policy. She bought me exactly what I wanted, and as I walked away with my prize, I realized that while the honey bun was good, a snack earned through a legal loophole tasted much sweeter. And that was an excerpt from my book called Lost, Alone, and Afraid. If you love it and want to hear more, hit me up at blaizeonfyah@gmail.com. If you want to buy it, you can purchase it at amazon.com. Thank you so much for listening.